Part 6, C Cube and Emotional Intelligence, the Biochemistry of Stoic Composure. I am Naresh Saraph, and I welcome you to this series of intimate philosophical dialogues. Friends, before we commence this profound discourse, permit me a humble caveat. This series is intended solely for the cultivation of profound contemplation, the expansion of cognitive horizons, and the elevation of human awareness. The paradigms articulated herein are synthesized from ancient philosophical tenets and my own empirical understanding. This discourse does not constitute medical, clinical, or Ayurvedic counsel, nor does it harbor the slightest intent to transgress upon anyone's deeply held convictions. I implore you to receive it with an open intellect, profound maturity, and a deeply contemplative spirit. In our preceding dialogue, we witnessed how the symphonic synchronization of the C cube engenders profound intellectual power. Today, we navigate the nexus between emotional intelligence and biochemistry. In the trajectory of a knowledge worker's success, the intelligence quotient is merely the entry ticket. It is the emotional quotient that ultimately dictates the zenith of their achievement. One might possess the most formidable analytical intellect, but an inability to metabolize criticism gracefully or regulate internal stress will render that brilliance entirely impotent. Envision yourself in the crucible of a high-stakes corporate negotiation. The opposing counsel is aggressively, and perhaps unfairly, dismantling a proposal you have spent months meticulously architecting. Every syllable of their critique registers as a visceral, personal assault. Your sympathetic nervous system engages. Your heart rate accelerates. Your musculature tenses. The urge to retaliate is overwhelming. Instead of succumbing to this limbic hijacking, you maintain a serene composure and respond with calculated, diplomatic precision. This is the zenith of emotional intelligence. But we must ask, what fuels this extraordinary restraint? Maintaining such stoic composure demands a colossal expenditure of biochemical energy from the brain. And the reservoir of this energy is unequivocally the C cube. We must look deep within the temporal lobe of our brain to find the source. Within resides an almond-shaped cluster of nuclei known as the amygdala. This structure is the ancient sentinel of our emotional processing, particularly fear and anger. It is the architect of the fight or flight response, a legacy of our prehistoric survival mechanisms. Conversely, behind our forehead is the prefrontal cortex. This is the evolutionary pinnacle of the human brain. It is the seat of executive function, logical reasoning, and, crucially, emotional regulation. It is the wise monarch. When confronted with stress, the amygdala ignites. However, a robust, well-nourished prefrontal cortex acts as a monarch, suppressing the panic and dictating a measured response. For this prefrontal cortex to exert its sovereign control, it requires a massive, uninterrupted supply of glucose, the metabolic derivative of complex carbohydrates. Fuel is everything. If your physiological system is starved of carbohydrates, your prefrontal cortex is effectively disarmed. It lacks the metabolic fuel to inhibit the amygdala's primal screams. Consequently, the amygdala usurps control, rendering you reactive, irritable, and emotionally volatile. Emotional restraint is the first luxury to be discarded when starving. This is the physiological basis for the phenomenon colloquially termed hangry, the intersection of hunger and anger. It is biological, not just behavioral. Let us examine a clinical corporate reality. Consider an elite project manager. Let us refer to him as Vikram. His technical acumen was unparalleled, placing him in the highest percentile. Yet, his team operated in a state of perpetual dread. Vikram was prone to explosive outbursts over trivialities. A minor formatting error, a brief logistical delay. It was destructive. The root cause was not a character flaw, but a dietary one. Vikram had adopted a severe, highly restrictive low-carb regimen, pursuing an aesthetic fitness ideal. While his physique transformed, his brain was in a state of chronic starvation. His prefrontal cortex, running on metabolic fumes, was entirely incapable of regulation. Upon consulting a nutritionist who mandated the reintroduction of complex carbohydrates, the metamorphosis was profound. Within weeks, the emotional volatility evaporated. He was reborn. He became a paragon of patience and constructive leadership, and his team's productivity reached unprecedented heights. Success followed his biochemical balance. The role of calcium in emotional intelligence is equally profound. Calcium is the sine qua non of neurotransmission. It carries the weight of our mood. Joy and stability are mediated by neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine. Their release is entirely dependent on optimal intracellular calcium levels. Balance your ions. A chronic deficiency compromises this balance, predisposing the individual to inexplicable bouts of melancholy and anxiety, independent of external circumstances. It is your biology at work. And what of cholesterol? It is the biochemical precursor for steroid hormones, including cortisol, the primary hormone responsible for stress management and resilience. It is your shield. If your levels are pathologically suppressed, the body loses its capacity to manufacture the very hormones required to metabolize stress. You become psychologically fragile, crumbling under professional pressures you once navigated. Therefore, the super ultra balancing of the C cube constructs an impregnable emotional fortress. We endue ourselves with biochemical armor for the modern landscape. Traverse the high pressure landscape with unshakable grace, profound composure, and enduring wisdom. This is the goal of our inquiry. Begin to live with understanding. We shall meet soon in the next part, but do not forget to subscribe to the Naresh Saraph channel. Quickly like the video, press the bell icon, hype it, and contemplate it.